All right, and we just heard word that the UGA Dogs have, I believe, just touched down in Los Angeles at LAX Airport. We should be seeing them coming around here any minute now. The buses are all lined up. They are ready. We are hoping to hear from Coach Kirby Smart, but right now, just following this amazing moment, the touchdown at LAX, really the official start of this journey for Monday's national championship game. We are chasing the championship, and I'm talking about the national championship that's set for 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday at the SoFi Stadium. Now, the excitement really began this morning when we followed the Dogs out of Athens, out of the UGA Athletic Complex Center, all the way to ATL. We saw them take off. It was really breathtaking. We also followed TCU. They landed at about 4 p.m., but now is the moment the Dogs touch wheels to the ground at LAX.
Yeah, I mean, just so much excitement. Obviously, everybody's so excited. Excitement and expectation, right? Because I think that everyone feels like this is the beginning of a back-to-back championship celebration for the Dogs, and I think that so much anticipation is in the air because I think everyone can sort of preview what they feel like, what they are confident in is going to happen. So,
I keep seeing all the other planes on the tarmac and getting excited, but the plane we are looking out for is a Delta plane. It has the signature of the late Vince Dooley on there, a very special aircraft. That is the one that is carrying our beloved UGA Dogs.
Yeah, it's just be so special, just given everything that kind of happened this year with legendary coach passing, Vince Dooley. What better way to celebrate and honor his legacy by winning another championship?
I got so excited bringing our viewers this shot. I want to take a moment to show our faces. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've been with us all day through the bus journey to ATL, then to see TSU touchdown, and now to capture this moment and see the Dogs make their way officially to Los Angeles. I'm Maria Moreau. I'm joined by a sports journalist, Scott Pennyman. What an exciting time. I'm going to go back to this airplane shot. This is just wonderful. And as soon as I do see that Delta plane, I'm going to get emotional.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just all these things are just kind of build the anticipation. We saw TCU get in there, and now we're seeing the Dogs going to be landing pretty soon. It's just really hard to just, like I say, just sort of bottle up that excitement. Everyone's just ready to go. Beautiful looking day out there out in Los Angeles. So it's just
clear skies.
Very, very clear skies. Kind of when you think about Los Angeles, when you think about California, that's kind of exactly what you think about.
Now, we have heard that the word is that they are already on the tarmac or approaching the tarmac. They might have just hit wheels to the ground seconds ago. We are waiting to see them pull up to this area right here, and that is when we'll have our visual of our Delta plane. We'll follow these players as they get off the plane. We got to see them boarding. Now we get to see them coming down from the plane and boarding these buses, getting ready for a long weekend. And speaking of weekend, we have a lot that we're following as well. We have a team of 10 out in Los Angeles. Our Atlanta News First team made their way through delayed flights, through waiting on baggage. They were determined and in good spirits to be there for these dogs and beat them to landing in LA to capture this moment. So our Ella Dorsey, Rob Hughes, Emily Gagnon, I know she's a sports favorite, Patrick Quinn, Alan Devlin, they've all been in LA pretty much the whole day, just bringing this magic to those of us who couldn't go.
Yeah, I mean, just, you think about just the amount of, not just our station, but just the amount of media in general. There's a lot that goes into, flying across the country, 4 or 5 hour flight, landing in LA, and we're obviously, everyone here at Atlanta News First is so dedicated to bringing you the best coverage that our reporters and our photojournalists are going through a lot to make this happen. But it's going to be really great.
And we were in Indianapolis following the 2021 game. That was a sight to see. We talked to our managing editor, actually, Josh Morgan. He's also out in Los Angeles. And I was asking him, how does this compare? Is this like a deja vu moment, or is the energy so different? And I think he put it best. He said, last year, the dogs were the underdog, no pun intended. But this time around, they are the top champs. They are the defending champions. And people are optimistic that this 2-in-a-row title is very possible for them. Yeah,
and I'll even kind of go a step further. Not just optimistic, I think they're very confident that they're gonna, this will be a win. And not just, like I say, this is last week's game really sort of built a lot of character. And I have no question that the focus level will be on 1,000 as they get ready for this game next couple days in practices and media. I bet what you're going to hear from the players and Kirby is just a very business-like approach. And I think that's just, when you've been there and you've done that and you're experienced, that's how you approach these things.
And hey, as we wait for this plane to appear, here's that picture I was able to get. This is our beloved Bulldogs boarding the flight. This is at ATL. That is the Delta plane that we're going to see here momentarily with their Chick-fil-A sandwiches in hand.
I
gotta say, Chick-fil-A in hand, Delta flight. Dogs, this is a very Atlanta moment.
I mean, that's a long flight, so I mean, as many things as you can have to make it as comfortable as possible. And what makes it more comfortable than having a bag of Chick-fil-A in your hand?
This is not a sponsorship, I promise.
It's
just so relatable.
Chick-fil-A is just so awesome. It doesn't, it's just makes a long 4.5, 5 hour flight just feel that much better.
And they're gonna need it. Let's get back to this live shot right here. This Delta plane with the amazing signature of Vince Dooley going to be pulling up here within the next minute or so, really any moment now. And if you see that mic off to the right side, a lot of people are thinking, is there going to be a press conference of some sort? We did hear the TCU head coach give a statement. He was saying that TCU is here to win. They didn't fly all that way, all the way from Texas to California to be the losers. They are confident that this is going to be a game that falls in their favor. And to that, we have a mic set up with possibly words coming from Kirby Smart about how the dogs are feeling. We got one perspective. I hope we can get the other one as well.
Yeah, I think you'll get I think you'll get a very confident Coach Smart, a very focused Coach Smart, as they understand the task at hand, as they understand, like I said, they've been here, they've done that, they understand the spotlight. And I think a lot of the players who were on this team last year, they know what to expect going into this. TCU is new to everything here. They're new to all the media coverage. They're new to the spotlight that comes along with being in this championship game. This is all old hat to Georgia. So I think that That's a major advantage they're going to have coming into this game.
And I do believe that is the Delta plane, by the way that the camera is following it. That it has to be the first plane carrying the Dogs team. We did see a second plane also on the tarmac at ATL, I believe. Several members of staff, possibly more of the players on that second plane. That plane probably not arriving for a few more moments, but right now we can see the bulk of the team coming through on that Delta plane. So we should see them coming off of the plane onto the tarmac here shortly. I'm going to keep these two visuals up so that we can really follow this closely. But this is a live picture at LAX Airport. If you're just joining us, you caught us at a good time. The UGA Dogs just pulled in. They are officially in LA, about to be headed into a busy weekend. Media Day starts on Saturday. That is when we get to really get that one-on-one with the players, and then the head coach press conference on Sunday. So many other activities just to build the excitement for what is going to be Monday, the national championship game, the last game of the season, and the one that really becomes the historic moment for either TCU or our UGA Dogs.
Yeah, and you have to love these media days. You know, when it comes to these media days at these big championship games or the Super Bowl, you have to watch a lot of, and I'm sure all of these players have been coached up on not wanting to say the wrong things to sort of provide billboard material.
I just want to, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I just
good.
want to take a moment of silence, take a breath for, this is the plane. You saw Vince Dooley's signature. It's definitely the plane that we saw this morning here in Atlanta, or I should say this afternoon. They took off at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and now pulling in. Wow. All right, and that plane has officially parked from the looks of it. You can see the 2023 playoff symbol, college football symbol, the Vince Dooley signature on the Delta flight, and what's going to be here in the next few minutes are Dogs, our boys, getting off of that flight onto the tarmac into those buses where it really kicks off the fun here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of exciting times here. I mean, this is you know, just kind of watching that plane come in. It kind of reminds me of the movie Rocky IV when the plane lands in Russia and you got Sylvester Stallone getting off the plane and he's all business when he steps off, and you know it's time for for a battle. That's kind of what this reminds me of. It's time for a battle. I mean, just make no mistake about it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. You're in Los Angeles. It's a lot going on. There's a lot of fanfare surrounding the game, but make no mistake about it, they're here to win a football game.
And I gotta say, I was trying to choose between the best angle to bring you, but I just liked both of these, so I'm gonna leave them both up here. Oh. You can see the 2023 symbol there, and then the plane, just wow, magnificent. And I know we were excited to see TCU land because that made things kind of feel real.
Yeah.
But seeing the Dogs land makes me feel excited.
It is. Excited, a lot of confidence. And when they get off this plane, especially for these young kids who haven't been here before, when they get off this plane, their world is going to change for about the next 3 or 4 days. I mean, they're going to see more media. They're going to see more picture seekers. They're going to see more of that than they've ever seen in their entire lives.
And hopefully they have the veterans, you know, the Stetsons,
Yes.
guiding them along, kind of telling them what to expect. I'm sure those conversations have been had, just making sure that everybody feels ready and confident and together in this moment. I gotta say, you mentioned Media Day, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you've been at so many of those.
Oh, yeah.
Take me inside that room, because I've never been.
You know, I was just at the media day the other day for the Peach Bowl. It's just there's so many from different parts of the country, national, local. There's just so many different outlets there. There's so many different questions coming at different times. Serious questions, really silly questions. There's just all sort of questions that they're going to face. So what's important here if you're a coach is to make sure, once again, that everyone, you know, just sort of keeps the focus on the game. No one gets caught up in any silly back and forths with
Right.
anyone trying to sucker them into anything crazy. Just keep the focus, keep the main thing, focus on the game.
And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, we talk about Coach Smart, Kirby Smart, and the way that he handles these, the professionalism that he
Yes.
brings, the calm confidence. Oh, I do believe we are starting to see those players getting off the plane. So let's take a look at that. There he is.
Coach.
Followed by, I believe here, any minute is going to be our first player off the plane. We should see that, and I'm hoping here in just a moment we will hear words from Coach Smart as well. But speaking of him, I gotta say, you know, the resume he holds is already speaks for itself, but also the way he handles these types of media days and just getting these guys to the game and getting them focused and confident, that really does help them in that moment, especially those who you said are doing this for the very first time.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's been, obviously he's been here a few times in this championship game setting at Alabama, being an assistant under Nick Saban. He's seen these sort of big matchups before. He's seen these sort of big games. So he knows exactly how to navigate just everything as far as media, practice time, just getting guys acquainted to being in an unfamiliar environment. This is something that he is very accustomed to and he will handle very well. And that's the benefit of experience once you get into these big games.
And you can see just the media already surrounding him.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is to be expected. Several more players getting off of that flight. I want to bring up the point that this is one of 2 Delta flights. We are expecting another flight as well, but this is really bringing the bulk of the dogs to Los Angeles, making it all feel real and getting us in gear for national championship. A game that is going to be on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 if you did make it out to LA and are still watching us. But speaking of, I know a lot of fans have said that they want to be there in person for this moment, for this historical moment.
Yes.
But I was talking to our reporter, Madeline Montgomery, who said some fans went as far as to buy their LA tickets to attend at SoFi Stadium before the Peach Bowl was even played.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it because, you know, once that victory happens, it's those prices, they aren't going to go down. Those prices ain't going down. They're going up. So, yeah, I mean, best thing to do, plan ahead and secure your opportunity to be a part of this experience.
And we are also on Scott Pennyman's Instagram, and someone has asked you to bring them on camera, which I assume is to show them the dogs. So I'm going to leave that to you. Let me check through these Facebook comments here. But look at them go. Still that same energy that I saw at ATL, just confident, calm, and ready. That is the vibe I'm getting.
That's the way. You know, that's what people don't understand. That's how you have to be in these big games. There's going to always be some jitters right before the game, just because there's going to be so much media. I mean, probably not as many people as what watches the Super Bowl, but I mean, those audiences are kind of similar. People who are maybe watching you for the first time. So the energy that's going to be in the building for that first game, it's just anticipation. I mean, a lot of guys won't get a lot of sleep. There'll be a lot of anxiety and anxious days leading up to the game. This is the hardest time. This is the hardest time, the few days leading up to the game, just because you need things to occupy that anxiety that you're going to feel, you know?
Right. Hey, I got to ask you the question that's circulating around social media.
Yes.
Because of what some people are saying, the magical moment that we saw on New Year's Eve at the Peach Bowl, the 1 point at the strike of midnight,
Yes.
bringing us to this reality here, the Dogs going to the national championship. Two questions for you. Who are you rooting for to win? What's your prediction? And two, by how many points?
Definitely Dogs. I mean, I definitely feel like they're going to win this game. I don't think this is going to be as close as the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
I feel like from a pure talent standpoint, I think when you get into these big games, I think the difference will be Georgia up front, right? The offensive line, defensive lines. That's where Georgia's going to dominate this football game. They're going to be able to control the lines of scrimmage in this game just because they have bigger, more talented athletes up front. That wasn't a factor against Ohio State because Ohio State has just as much talent as Georgia if you're talking about man-for-a-man standpoint. When you talk about TCU, not quite. Those guys are, they're decently recruited, but they kind of work hard and they play as a team, and that's how they got in this position. Georgia, I think, will control the offensive line. They'll control the defensive line. They'll be able to do whatever they want to do on offense. I don't look for this game to be as close as the Ohio State game. I'm thinking Georgia wins by at least I'm picking UGA to win by at least a couple touchdowns.
That is actually the majority opinion from what I've seen on social media, just seeing how people are following this. Somebody even went as far as to say on our live stream earlier this morning, they're going to win by 40 points, that would be impressive.
Yeah, I think 40 is a bit ambitious. They've, for the most part, when you look at Georgia's games this year, they've handled their opponents, right? I think TCU is going to be game. I think they'll show up. They'll what do people say? They're going to pull up. They're going to pull up ready to play. I just feel like just what Georgia has on both sides of the ball on those, and again, I'll go back to the offensive and defensive lines. I think the amount of talent that UGA has, the amount of talent that the Dogs have on those lines, I think it's just going to overwhelm TCU. And I think they'll win by at least 2 touchdowns.
And if you are just joining us now, we are live on the Atlanta News First Facebook page. We're live on Atlanta News First YouTube, as well as our ANF Roku TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. If the easiest way to watch this stream, this coverage that we're bringing you of the Dogs, is to download our Atlanta News First app. Under the Watch Live section, you can catch all of this fun, our commentary, our 2 cents, but mostly the visual of the Dogs, following them all the way as they load up onto the bus. Hopefully hear some words here soon from Coach Kirby Smart. That is, I think, what a lot of people are excited for. We heard from TCU. Now it's time to hear from UGA. So that is what we're following. Hey, I got a comment on our Facebook, by the way. I am checking all of your comments. Okay. Nancy Brown saying, how many people does that plane hold? They just keep coming off. I actually had that same thought, Nancy, myself.
That's a huge jet.
It's huge.
I'm guessing hundreds. I don't know. I'm not a jet expert, but I would say a couple hundred at least.
Has to be. And that's not even all of them. There's another plane coming, Nancy. Yes. I can tell you this, though. It looks like they're all off the plane. That looks like an airline or airport employee. So who's capturing this moment? I would too. I wouldn't put my phone down.
I mean, just how many times, if you work for these companies here how many times are you going to be a part of something like this? I mean, you have to capture a moment like this just because you're not going to be a part of it too often.
I'd make sure my uniform, if you do wear a uniform, they appear that they do, is extra clean. Let's listen in on Kirby. I don't want to miss this.
That was a good thing for us. We met this morning in Athens, jumped on the plane, and headed this way. As you probably know, we covered the takeoff, and we're here now to get a little work done today, and then get ready to go practice tomorrow.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get this microphone to you.
Where do you plug in at?
There's no one. Have a question up front.
Hey there, Coach. Tony from WSB TV. You said you have a little work to get done today and practice tomorrow. What is the work that you're going to be doing tonight?
We'll do a little workout. I think it's important to get on the ground, stretch our legs. So we'll do a little work and then get practicing tomorrow as well.
Coach Jack Patterson from WRBL in Columbus. Now that you're finally out here, what do you tell the team as it kind of seeps in that you're getting ready to play for a national championship?
Where's everybody else?
We still have a couple days to get prepared. We'll go through our normal process, preparing for a game, which we've done 14 times now. So it's not different in terms of what we do. It's just where we're doing it.
Good afternoon, Coach. First and foremost, congratulations on making it this far. You and your Bulldogs team had the opportunity to win back-to-back national titles for the first time in almost a decade. So what does this mean to you and your Bulldogs team that's going to compete out there on Monday?
Well, it's about the players. The players put us in this position. It's really not about me. It's about our organization, our university, and it doesn't come without a lot of hard work. And our guys have took that hard work head on. And one of the hardest things to do in all sports is finish. And we've got an opportunity to finish a really good season on Monday night. We've got a great opponent to go through to get there. So I have a lot of respect for TCU and our guys, the work they put in. So just an honor to be on the stage.
Coach, as you're reflecting on the road to get here, what is different about this team that's going to face TCU on Monday?
Well, I think this team is constantly changing. It's not in a vacuum where we've just gone in stages. We've gotten better. We've improved. We've had played a lot of really good opponents, especially here at the end of the year. They've come a long way, and the young players have shown the most progress. Some of our younger players are starting to play better because I think they're at the end of year one. And we've also tried to manage fatigue as you go along, and it's important to manage your players' bodies. So I'm pleased with where they are, but the biggest test of all will be Monday.
Jack Harrison here from UGA. You were a part of the coaching staff for the last team to win back-to-back national championships with Alabama. Is there any lessons you can take from being a part of that team to take to this team as well?
Not that I really remember. I mean, it's all part of being a staff and a team and everybody buying into your job. I don't think those experiences are relevant with these experiences.
Price with Fox 5. What can you say about any health updates that you have on maybe Warren and Darnell?
Warren Clendon, yeah, he's been working. He's felt a lot better this week in terms of what he's been able to do from the previous weeks, and we're hopeful to have Darnell ready.
Brandon Adams from Dog Nation. How much of an acclimation process is it getting ready to play in a stadium that you've never played in before? Sightlines, things like that. What will that be like?
Well, we'll get to walk the stadium, we'll get to practice in the stadium, we'll get to do walk through the stadium, so it will be more familiar with this stadium than most places we play. Because when we play on the road, our kids don't see the stadium anyway. So when you go to the SEC, a lot of the freshmen don't ever go there and see it. So it won't be quite as normal as we've been over in the men's. We played there so many times, but we'll get a walkthrough or a practice and in pregame get some work in over there. So that should help.
Coach Dan Matthews, 6A The Fan right here. Just you guys stepping off the plane, you touched on this a little bit earlier. I mean, is there kind of a different feeling this time of knowing what these couple of days are like leading up to game day?
Different than what? Well, the temperature's different, I can promise you that. It's big time difference there. In terms of our team, it's very different. So we'll approach it the same way in terms of what we do and how we go about things, but that doesn't change on any game we do. Thanks, guys.
All right, and that was Coach Kirby Smart. Basically, like you said, being very businesslike, to the point, focused, but confident. And that was really a good way that you described him, and that is what we saw in that little press conference that he held, that he granted. We also heard from TCU, so we're great that we got both sides of this, kind of where the team's at. The UGA Dogs saying they're focused, TCU saying they're ready and they didn't come to lose.
Yep.
So we have some build up, some excitement that I believe we'll get more of during media day.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like you said, like I kind of expected in the time I've been covering Kirby Smart, he's not going to have any hot takes. He's going to step out there. He's going to represent for his team. He's going to exude confidence, composure, and that's how the team plays. Because once again, when your leader is a certain way, everything else is going to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were just jumping on this live stream and you missed the earlier part, just to get you guys caught up to speed, that plane that you're looking at, that is the Vince Dooley Delta plane, the official plane of the Dogs, carrying the bulk of the team to Los Angeles at LAX. Now, there is a second plane that is carrying more staff, more of the Dogs. I do believe we just lost that visual. We have this one still yet here. You can see some of the members of this team boarding the bus. I believe most of them are already on the bus, and here any moment now that national championship UGA bus is going to take off, and that will conclude the official Dogs landing coverage. But I gotta say, the fun's not over. We have a 7:30 special Chasing the Championship coverage where we are taking you through the LA experience. The excitement has already been building up there. SoFi Stadium is getting ready. There is a buzz surrounding this moment that is going to happen on Monday night. Historic for whichever team wins. This is going to be a big deal.
Absolutely. And as you just said, we have a huge staff out in Los Angeles right now, just waiting, and they've been putting together some really cool stories for all to see, and they've really been out there in the trenches of what's going on out there in Los Angeles. So when you watch that special, you're going to see some really, really cool pieces and a lot of work, and just they're going to really take it in depth into what's happening out there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, this has been a labor of love from all of us here at Atlanta News First, and I really think that Chasing the Championship special that you're about to see, that is going to be all of it on display for you to talk about the UGA Dogs, to talk about what football, what the UGA means to Georgia, and really, I dare say, most of the South, and how we are going to be supporting them out here on the East Coast, on the east side of things, while they hopefully dominate Monday on the West Coast.
And let's not forget, too, they have an opportunity to really do something special, right? Since the college football playoff has began, no team has won back-to-back.
Right.
So this is a huge opportunity to make some history here, to get those back-to-back championships. And it's always harder. I mean, I know they've made it look so easy because they're such a veteran team and they brought back a lot of really good players. And they made it look really easy this season, but it's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. And I think that Monday night can be a culmination of a lot of hard work since this time last year, when the offseason you dive right into recruiting and off-season workouts and everything. We just see the results on the field. This is a culmination of a full year of so much hard work on behalf of everybody involved with that entire program, and they have a huge opportunity to make it pay off on Monday night.
And for the non-football people who are interested in this, or this has piqued their interest, I think our managing editor, Josh Morgan, put it best, and I'm just going to reiterate what he said because I just thought it was the perfect explanation of how this is different from what we saw in 2021.
Yes.
2021, they were the underdogs, no pun intended. This time, they are the defending national champions. People are, honestly, they're putting a lot of confidence in these guys and looking at TSU as the underdogs this time around. So it's a different feel, it's a different vibe, and that is going to have an effect on how this game plays out.
Yeah, it's lonely at the top, right? And that's kind of what they say. And I think that, like you said, last year it was just different. They were trying to get there for the first time, so it was the thrill of the climb. It's a different beast when you're the hunted.
Yeah.
And I know in talking to a lot of players throughout the week, they were clear that Kirby from the beginning said, we're not going to be the hunted. We're still going to be doing the hunting. And that's really the approach they've had the entire season. They've been hunting the entire season. As by as indicated in the score of a lot of these games. I mean, they weren't just winning a lot of these games. They were winning at home, and they were going into other venues in the SEC and winning by huge margins. And I think that sort of gave you a feel that, yes, this team is still doing the hunting. They're not going to lay back and be hunted by everyone else. And I think in a lot of ways, this has really been a more dominant season than last year.
Yeah, certainly. I did want to fulfill a promise that I made during our last stream. If you were with us at 4 p.m., we were following TCU landing at LAX in Los Angeles, that first team touching down. Obviously, the Dogs didn't land until about 20 minutes ago at 6:10 was their estimated time of arrival. But we weren't able to get the audio from TCU of just the words they had to say about what their plan is going into this weekend, going into Monday. I want to play that. So as soon as that bus starts moving and we do lose this visual, I'm going to take you out to Coach. He's going to be really just reiterating the words that Alan Devlin, our reporter who was on the ground, he was nice enough to summarize what was said because we couldn't hear back here, saying that TCU did not come all the way to Los Angeles to lose. I know Texas and LA aren't a long way when you think about Georgia, but he said, we're not here to lose, we are here to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you don't go through all these games, you don't play as many regular season games as you do, get to the playoffs, lift all those weights, have all the stuff you have during the season to get in a game like this and be satisfied. They're going to be trying to win. They should be trying to win. And it should be a disappointment if they lose. And that's how you have to look at it, you know. I'm sure that's how they will look at it as well.
Yeah, this TCU hasn't won a national championship title since 1938. If they can pull this off, this is going to be a big deal. And we saw some of that. I mean, just taking a look at the send-off that they had from Texas Christian University. Can you see the amount of people, the community members that came out while they were making their way to the airport? That was miles and miles of of support, of signs that were cheering them on. And we saw some of that from the Dogs too. But TCU has a heavy amount of support from the Texas community, from this surrounding area of family members, friends, people that might just be football fans that came out to let these guys know that they're thinking of them.
Yeah, and just Houston, I mean, just Texas as a whole is a really, you know, when you think Texas, you think football.
Right.
So when you think all the programs in the state of Texas, you have the University of Texas, which is the big program there. You have schools like the University of Houston, Baylor, and TCU is the team that emerges, and they're playing for a national championship. I mean, it's really just a great story, regardless of how this season ends for them. In my mind, I'm going to think it's a great story for them.
How did you describe it? Cinderella moment?
They're Cinderella. They're a Cinderella team. They're not supposed to be in this moment, right? So I think that gives you a sense of, look, if you're TCU, you can come into this game very relaxed because you're not even supposed to be here.
You're already impressive.
You're already impressive. So I described it earlier as they're kind of playing with house money. Because if they lose, it's like, okay, well, you lost to the defending champs. I mean, that was expected. But you can go out there and play freely and let it all hang out, like I'm sure they will, and feel comfortable in your efforts. And to me, that's what UGA has to look out for the most, because that's a dangerous team to play. When a team has absolutely nothing to lose and they're playing with house money, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of what you're looking at right now is the national championship bus. Inside are the Dogs. We're following them every step of the way. We brought you their departure from the UGA Athletic Complex in Athens at 10 a.m. this morning. We followed them all the way from Athens to ATL, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where they took off at around 1 p.m. Eastern, landing in LA at 6:10 p.m. Eastern. Now I see that door just closed. I think here in the next minute, that bus is going to start making its way.
It's time to go to work. I mean, once that bus takes off and you get back to the hotel room, it's time to go to work. Yeah. You know, it's cool
there
to be in
goes.
LA. It's a cool little vacation, but at the end of the day, this is a business trip. What a pretty looking bus too.
Yeah, and look at that police escort. This is official. They mean business. I think both teams are, of course, they have to take this really seriously, but they're putting all of their energy and focus into this. I was describing the vibe of the players, the energy that they were giving off, and you can see them, with their headset on, just focused, confident, and also relaxed, which is an interesting mix that you saw. They just looked ready, is the best way that I would put it.
A relaxed athlete is an athlete that's going to play at their peak, right?
Right.
It's because a lot of those guys have been here before.
Mm-hmm.
They know what to expect. They know the expectations. They know what this week is going to be like, and that's a huge advantage.
And look at those buses go. Wow. I think I count four of them.
Several buses.
And I'm not sure at this point, but I think that second plane hasn't touched down yet. So this might not even be the full staff team that is going to be in Los Angeles through this weekend and on Monday. I believe that second plane might still be on the way, but that is the bulk of the team. I want to say almost all of the team that will be representing Georgia, representing the South, just representing the love of football at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, in Inglewood specifically, on Monday at 7:30 p.m. our time, 4:30 p.m. LA time.
Representing the SEC as well, right? I mean,
representing the SEC.
They
we
look
go.
to really keep this SEC dominance going. When you look at the playoff era, I mean, it's been more than a few different SEC teams who have won championships. So this is really an opportunity to continue to keep their foot on the necks of the college football world.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so those players have officially boarded the bus. That bus has taken off. I want to fulfill my promise, if I can, of getting you that full speech that we heard from TCU earlier. We weren't able to play it due to audio issues, but we have since gotten that clip, so let's listen to it now.
Yeah. Just want to say thank you to everybody for being out here and welcoming TCU. We're excited to be here. The weather is awfully nice. We left it was cold and windy in Fort Worth today. It's a beautiful, sunny Southern California day. So we're excited to be here again. Appreciate you coming out and covering our team and our players. So we're excited. It's been quite a journey to get here. The guys are well prepared. We've had a good week of practice. Had a really nice practice this morning as well. So we feel like a lot of the heavy lifting is done to get us ready to go play. We'll do a lot of playing against a really good Georgia team.
Sonny, what was your message to your team as you kind of embarked and began the travel? What do you want to tell them?
Honestly, it hasn't been much different than it has been all year. It's been pretty consistent. Just, do a great job of preparing, handle yourself like a professional. You got to credit our players. They've been really mature all year long in their approach and what they've done to prepare and get themselves ready to go out and play their best football. So it's kind of business as usual for us, honestly. I think the approach has served us well up until this point, and so we're going to stay consistent with our messaging. And our guys see it as a great opportunity and another chance to play a game, obviously a very meaningful game. But they're, we got a formula, and the guys are going to follow it.
Sonny, your thoughts, and you see the kids right here taking the pictures with the sign behind them, the joy they have to get to this moment that you all have worked for. Can you speak more on that?
Yeah, I think when you undertake a journey like this, again, especially with your first year, and you really don't have any expectations going into the year, it's quite a ride. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. We haven't had a whole lot of time, honestly, to reflect on a lot of things. It's just kind of, in college football, you just wake up and you go to the next day, and whether it's preparation for the next week's game or whether it's getting ready to recruit, planning or scheduling, whatever the case may be, it doesn't really slow down much. So you don't have a lot of time to sit back and reflect. So it's just kind of follow the formula. The players, I think, are really in a good place mentally. They know it's a big game, obviously, but at the same time, they know that they're prepared and they know what they've done to get ready to go play well. So they'll do the same things. But it's been a fun ride. I think when it's all over, we have some time to sit back and look at it all, then we'll be able to take it in and reflect a little bit more than we have up to this point. But we're glad to be here. We've earned our way here. It hadn't been easy. There hadn't been anything easy about any of it. We're a tough football team and a football team that's very opportunistic, and we're certainly going to have to be that way on Monday night.
Mike Griffith, AJC Dog Nation. Coach, when you're on site, what is the challenge and the priority for you now that you're here on site in Los Angeles?
Yeah, just handle it like professionals. We talk to the guys all the time about just being mature and having a consistent approach in everything that we do. So, we'll take some time, get to the hotel, figure out how everything works, get settled in, find our meeting rooms, go to the room, do all that stuff, have a little bit of a welcome party tonight, and then we'll kind of hole up a little bit and start getting ready for the game. It's nice, we're not here for too long before the game. I think it's just the right amount of time to let our players get focused in and settled in. And we do have a couple of days left to prepare, and those are going to be really important days for us, and we're going to squeeze everything we can out of those days and those opportunities to get ourselves more ready to play. But we're fired up about the opportunity, and guys are excited to be here, and it's quite an experience for those guys. As they alluded to earlier, we've got 4 players in our team right now that have played in a bowl game, actually played in a game, and so this is all new for them. But again, they've handled it with a ton of maturity and a ton of focus, and expect them to do the same thing.
All that being said, what do the next couple days look for you guys, keeping them focused with all that kind of going on?
Yeah. So we got a busy calendar here the next couple of days. As I said earlier, today's just about getting comfortable with our surroundings in the hotel. Figuring out how the meeting rooms work and how much time it's going to take to get from their room to the meal room and meeting room and hospitality room and all the different things that our guys will do. Tomorrow we'll have meetings in the morning. And those are going to be, critical meetings. We'll review today's practice tape, continue to make some game plan tweaks. We'll practice tomorrow at 1:30. Tomorrow's practice will be more of a walkthrough, where we'll do some last-minute corrections and additions, and then come back after that, review the tape a little bit more, and continue to make some changes and adjustments, and then have a run-through, which will be more of a game plan final run-through on Sunday, and then get ourselves ready to go. So it's going to be, a lot of time in the hotel, a lot of time looking at tape, a lot of time doing walkthroughs, anything we can do to get ourselves ready. But really, quite frankly, not more than we normally do. Typical schedule for us. We want our players to be comfortable in our preparation, and those guys are. We've stayed to a routine really all year long, and we'll kind of follow the same routine this week.
All right, and that was basically him letting us know, today is about getting comfortable with the environment, getting the mindset correct. Hey, we're in LA, we made it. Yeah. What's next for us? And kind of acclimating. But these are really different speeches that we heard. I shouldn't say speeches, press conferences from TCU versus what we heard from Kirby Smart, UGA. Different sort of energy. I think both good energy, but as you said, Kirby Smart bringing that business, calm confidence, TCU bringing that positive energy, that we got this, the confident approach of making sure that they're ready and they're getting the crowd ready along with them.
For sure, and I think that's what you'll continue to see. With one team, this is kind of new, TCU. They haven't really been in this situation before, so a lot of this is kind of like the newness of the situation. And with UGA, they look like defending champs.
Yeah.
And I expect that's not only going to be the case pregame, I also expect that to be the case once they step on the field.
And we're going to be following all that excitement. Hey, I want to give you a rundown of everything you can expect on this live stream and on Atlanta News First. Starting at 7:30, make sure you catch our Chasing the Championship special. That is, like I was saying earlier, a labor of love. Our 10 Atlanta News First team members that are out in California, capturing the energy, capturing the excitement, talking to the people out there. They are going to be essentially bringing you through that experience with us, giving you that firsthand perspective. And then our teams in Athens who are capturing the love and excitement that we have here in Georgia. I mean, people are serious about football here. Don't get that mistaken.
Sure.
And of course, just taking you through everything you can expect. As far as our coverage goes, we are going to be back tomorrow for Media Day. Make sure you catch that. We're going to be starting up at 11:30, taking you through all of the excitement of getting a one-on-one with these players, as well as just getting more of that Los Angeles feel going. And then I believe on Sunday, that's the head coach press conference.
Yes.
That's where things get serious. That's where we mean business goes into effect.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be, like I say, they'll just express their, mutual admiration for each other, like most coaches do in these big games and everything. And I think that, once again, Kirby will be Kirby. And Kirby will just kind of, he's a champion. He's been here before. He knows how to handle and navigate these situations. And I expect, and Sonny did a great job too. Sonny with TCU, Coach Sonny Dykes, this is his first year coaching that team. He's done a great job as well. It's going to be a great battle. I'm looking forward to it.
Make sure you tune in, again, 7:30 here in about 45 minutes. Chasing the Championship special. That's going to be on Atlanta News First. You can catch that on our app on atlantanewsfirst.com under the Watch Live tab. For now, thank you so much for spending the day with us here. This has been so much fun. Thank you for being up here with me.
Anytime.
We will catch you tomorrow, 11:30.
We're good?